What is going on, everyone, and welcome back to another Sports Talk on Tap video. We're here. You can find daily videos Monday through Friday covering all the four major sports leagues, NHL, MLB, NBA, NFL, you name it, whether it be news, games, highlights, all that fun stuff, trades like here, as you can see on our screen. We're going to be talking in today's episode about the Boston Bruins. Nick, your team, huge trade was made yesterday. We kind of touched on it a little bit. But, let you kind of mainly cook on this. But basically, Linus Ullmark, the goaltender, that was, on the trade market, was almost traded at the trade deadline. Was the Vezina winner last season. Then Swayman kind of took over his 1A role for the playoffs and end of the regular season. So now the Bruins do get a late first-round pick, the goaltender, Caprasala, and then who's that other guy? I have no idea. Young prospect, I assume.
The Ottawa guys, I don't really know.
Yeah. So either way, from what I've seen, Nick, a lot of Bruins fans on TikTok that I don't follow but see, and just hockey fans that cover the sport, really liked this trade for Ottawa. And I kind of wanted to get your thoughts on, what you think about this trade, obviously as a Bruins fan.
Yeah. Bruins fans. Boston fans can be known to be a bit over the top or, erratic at times, as many people know. But you probably weren't going to get much better than this for a trade unless some stupid team came out and said, we'll give you, 3 first-round picks, which I highly doubt. Because I can guarantee you the Bruins have been taking calls on Ullmark for a while now. And so if they pulled the trigger on this trade, this is probably the best they were going to get. People are looking at just the goalie for goalie. They're ignoring the first-round pick. I get it's a late first, but, Bruins were desperate for a first-round pick because we saw last year when, they were going on that crazy regular season run. They traded for a bunch of guys at the deadline because they went all in for the Stanley Cup, got bounced in the first round. They gave up, I think 2 or 3 first-round picks throughout the deadline, trying to pick up guys like Orlov, Bertuzzi, Garnet Hathaway, all those guys that they picked up. They had to give up their draft picks for because that was the only capital they had to give up. And so I know a 25th overall pick isn't anything insane, but it's a first-round pick that you can use to build your future with because that's what they need to do now. And Ullmark he's going to be good for Ottawa. He was good even before he came to the Bruins. He was a good goalie just on a bad Buffalo team. I think his numbers will go down a little because Ottawa, obviously isn't as good as the Bruins. But I think the Bruins will be okay. I think they'll be okay. Swayman's the guy that you want to step up now. He's, I think, only 24, maybe 25. I can't remember, when his birthday is or whatever. But he's the young goalie of the future for the team. This is the team telling everybody he is our guy for the future. It sucks to see him go because of how good he was for us. The goalie hugs and everything, the chemistry he brought to the table with him and Swayman. But I mean, you did the split tandem thing for 2 years, and both years it didn't work. I know you had, your regular season points and all that, but going into the playoffs, you saw Bobrovsky, Skinner, all those guys that went deep, those goalies played a large majority of the games for the regular season. And I do think that matters. You obviously don't want to wear down your goalie, but I think you need to play them more often. They need to get used to that playing every day because when Swayman was playing every day in the playoffs, that was the first time all year he was starting, 3 straight, 4 straight, whatever it was. And he played great, but just maybe they can use one of these players to flip for another forward because I think that's really what they need to address is the talent. I just don't think they're fast enough. We saw it against Florida. Florida skated all around them. So I don't think this is the last move they'll make, whether it's free agency or another trade or whatever. But I'm not as mad as most Bruin fans are about it. You knew Ullmark was going to be gone because you can't pay both goalies. So it's better you got something for him rather than just he plays another year, does pretty good. You get bounced in the second round again, and then he walks away for nothing. So
Yeah. No, right, you made very good points. Yeah, I'm gonna, as a non-Bruins fan, gonna miss the goalie hugs. That was a good celebration. But yeah, I'm curious where the Bruins go. A lot of salary cap space now, especially with the Elmar trade. I think they're around like 20-something million, 28, 29. So they got some money to spend. And that's what's going to come down to. I'm excited to see what they do, though. Obviously, you probably would have liked a little bit more in return, but I think part of the reason is you don't know with goalies. The uncertainty of season to season, going new team, how well they'll actually do. And I think Ottawa's concerned about that. And the Bruins might have thought, we'll take that late first rounder and whatever else. So overall, huge pickup for the Senators, though, at least on paper. Linus will be their number one, and maybe goaltending's been always a problem for the Senators to hold them back. But we shall see.
Maybe this Corpusalo kid, comes here and plays 35 games and, has the best year of his career just on a new team. Like sometimes all it takes is a change
could
of
happen.
scenery.
I mean, you remember what's it called? Ottawa doesn't have the best goalie reputation, as we saw. I remember the Wild 2 seasons ago made that Cam Talbot trade for Philip Gustafson, and everyone's like, "Oh, Philip Gustafson sucks. He has like an 890 save percentage. Like this dude isn't that good." Goes to Minnesota, it has like a 9. I think the only player that was ahead of him in save percentage and goals allowed was Linus Allmark, who was one of the best goalies seasons we've seen in a while. And so Philip Gustafson, turned into a good goalie. So maybe that's the same thing with Corpusalo. So who knows?
Yep.
But that'll be something interesting to watch for. But with that being said, our main topic today, after this Linus Allmark news, is a new thing that we thought about. Most likely to repeat, Nick, and I know we're probably going to do this in order, and it is, a little bit timeline off, obviously, because, the hockey's NBA just finished. But for me, I did an order of my 4, and then if you want to do an order of your 4.
Okay.
For me, last place comfortably is the Texas Rangers, just because they've been playing sub 500 baseball. There's a lot of really good teams like the Phillies, Yankees, Orioles, Guardians, probably even like the Royals, Stills, Mariners, Twins, Red Sox, even, that I like over the Rangers right now, just because they haven't been playing good baseball. But who knows? I still think they can get hot. I don't think they're like, I still think they're gonna. It wouldn't surprise me if they snuck into the playoffs. But they're 5.5 out right now, and they're just. It's been a weird year, but it's not bad to be number 4 on a list, because that means you won the championship. So Texas, I think will take this year. Whatever, they will World Series hangover, but they'll probably be back next year. Max Scherzer's back, so who knows? But when you're playing 5 games below 500 baseball, I can't give you can't give it to you. Next team, gonna go with the Florida Panthers. I really think it wouldn't surprise me if they went back, but if they do lose Sam Reinhart, that is a 57 goal scorer. So at least regular season wise, they won't be as dominant. But it was tough putting them here. But because Paul Maurice, Matthew Tkachuk, Barkov, they have playoff players, Bobrovsky. But it wouldn't surprise me in a way. I don't think they'd have as bad of a record. But if they do have a little Texas Rangers in them, because they've gone on huge 2 Stanley Cup Finals runs these last 2 seasons. They're going to be drained. Bobrovsky's like 35, 36 now. He's going to be worn out. And I just think, Tkachuk and even all them, even though despite still how young in age they are, only like 27 or something, it does take a toll on you. 2 long, deep, grueling playoff runs, and they deserved this cup. But rightfully so, like the Tampa Bay Lightning, we saw, that, 3rd, 4th year, it eventually catches up to you. So I just don't see how they would be able to do it again. I still think they're going to be a good team, solid playoff team. But it wouldn't surprise me if they lost to a team like, if they get better, like the Bruins or, just like another team that's just, better than them, like the Rangers, Hurricanes finally get over that hump. Just, if they do lose Sam Reinhart and just the grueling length of a playoff run. So that's my number 3, but I think they'll be back in the playoffs for sure. They'll still be a really solid team. Maybe for better or for worse, they won't sweat the regular season as much. Like, wouldn't surprise me if they're the third best team in the Atlantic, but they go on to like the Eastern Conference Finals again, or even Stanley Cup Finals and fall short. Then at number 2, they have the best odds from what it looks like on this list. Boston Celtics. I think they're pretty much, that East is solidified a good chance to be theirs. I think the Knicks are making some moves, though, so if they stayed healthy, that could be an interesting team. If the Bucks stayed healthy, Giannis, that matchup is always interesting. But those are really kind of the only 2 teams I could see even having a shot taking them down in the East. But when it comes to me, I just got a weird feeling that the Nuggets are just going to come back this year with some vengeance. And I think the Celtics just don't match up well with the Nuggets, and that's just a matchup thing. It's nothing against the Celtics. I think just the Nuggets still being there, there's still super lot of talent in an 82 basketball season. Who knows what happens? I just feel like, they still have really good odds. They're obviously the favorites, and I think they're probably going to go back to the finals. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Knicks, with all these moves they're making, keep OG Anunoby, somehow we're able to pull it off in like a grueling 7-game series. For the Celtics, though, I think similar to Florida, I'm hoping for better or for worse they don't sweat the regular season. I'm hoping they can still get the 1 seed without, having to win 64 games. I think, kind of take a little step back, let everyone rest. Wouldn't surprise me, if they got off to a little bit of, a slower start compared to these years past where they've been, the best regular season team. But, they're still going to be really good. But the only reason why I am putting them at number 2 is because this team has already repeated, and there's no out of all these athletes on this list, the best athlete is in that bottom left corner, Patrick Mahomes, best quarterback in the world. The Chiefs have been doubted every single season. These last 2 years, they traded away Tyreek Hill. They still won the Super Bowl. And I just trust Patrick Mahomes in the clutch. I think they added some good pieces. And, it's one of those things where if the team beats the Chiefs, credit to you. Like, I'll tip my cap. But crap, I mean, if the 49ers have the most loaded roster, and if they can't even do it, assuming no injuries, of course, I don't know who can, because it was like anytime they lost, like looking back, like the Bengals, they blew a 21-3 lead. I think that was just partially a little bit of a fluke. Otherwise, I mean, we've seen what they've done. The Buccaneers Super Bowl was just a team that just outmatched them in the trenches, but the Chiefs O-line is much better than that days. We've talked about in our NFL offense preview. If you haven't, anyone who hasn't already, make sure to check that out. Someone just needs to beat them because they've been the team to do it twice already to repeat. So I got to give them that respect and put them 1. But Nick, I'll let you cook with your own list of your 4 and where we agree or disagree.
We almost had the same list. Like I was getting excited, when we were getting to that 2 spot. The Rangers I do have last also. And it's not just because, they're playing bad baseball. It's also so hard to repeat in baseball with just the 162 games. Then you got all the series you got to go through. You pretty much have to have like a perfect season of no injuries, no, hangover. And, there's a reason we haven't seen repeats, and we haven't seen one repeat champion since, I believe, 1998, 99. The Yankees, I'm pretty sure, won 3 straight with just those crazy teams. But, yeah, the Rangers are last. They maybe could sneak in, but I don't know if they'll even make the playoffs this year with just the injuries they've got going and just not playing good baseball. I have the Panthers at 3 also. I think they're definitely going to be one of, if not the top team in the East next year. It's just so hard to repeat in hockey as well, with the 82 game season. Avoiding injuries. Everybody's going to get a year older. Are they going to even get? I'm assuming Bobrovsky comes back, but is he going to be able to play on the Vezina level that he was playing this year? So that's super tough. And I think there's teams in the East that are going to be gunning for Florida now, like the Rangers who want payback. Carolina, I want to say the Bruins, but I don't know if the Bruins can beat them unless they make – if the Bruins sign a guy like Reinhart, then I think their odds will jump way up, and I'll be super high on them, but that's a big if. I had the Chiefs at 2, and I had the Chiefs at 2 for the one reason that in football, you can have a fluke game in the playoffs and be done.
You're putting the team that's already repeated as 2?
What are you giving me that smirk for, boy?
You're putting the team that's already repeated as 2?
You know how hard it is to go back. They're the first team to go back-to-back since the Patriots. When was the last time there was a three-peat? Wasn't it like
they have the GOAT. They have the GOAT.
Okay,
they have the GOAT on their team.
I'll let you do your glazing, but I'm gonna do my talking. You can have an F-up game where the better team doesn't win in the NFL, and your season's done. And we maybe saw that like the year the Bengals beat the Chiefs in that AFC Championship. Like I think the Chiefs beat the Rams in that Super Bowl. Like that Chiefs team was good, and they lost that AFC Championship at home, on a last-second field goal, and their season was done. It's not like a 7-game series where the better team usually does win. That's why I have the Celtics at 1.
Andy Reid will never let. Andy Reid hasn't let that happen again. It's all good. They learned from that fluke game. They've just been on a war path, and they're going to be the first team that wants that three-peat. I can't wait for it to happen.
No, there's been a few three-peats, I think. I think the Cowboys did it like in the 90s, but there's a reason.
It's for a while, but they're on a war path for that three-peat.
I do still think they're the favorites coming out of the AFC at bare minimum. Like I was checking their odds just so I could, put this all together, and I believe they're second. I'm pretty sure the Niners are the first.
I don't get that. Why? Like, why are the Niners?
It's just the roster.
Who cares? Patrick Mahomes. I'm not blaming you. I'm just saying, Chiefs beat the Niners every time. Like, what are we doing here, guys? Like, I don't care that the 49ers have the best roster. Chiefs have the best quarterback, and that's what matters. I don't know. Overall, I mean, I think
football is so much more like meticulous and precise, and like you have to be perfect. That's why my thing is.
And that's what is kind of like my thing. You have to be perfect to beat the Chiefs. And just teams aren't able to do that through a full 60 minutes. You see glimpses of like the Bills being perfect for like a quarter or two on offense, but that clog will get shut down eventually. You think you can tame Mahomes for a while, but then once again, new lid opens and they'll just score points at a rapid pace. And I'm not mad. Obviously, I know you. Yeah, it's just I got to give it to the team that's already repeated the respect, just because they're so good. And it's a grueling season, 16 games, but you get a good amount of rest in the NFL, which is crucial. So the Chiefs haven't played since February, so by the time training camp comes around, they'll be ready in the late July because they've had like 7 months off. Either way, though, really, really looking forward to what's next for all these teams, and maybe what team proves us wrong. Maybe Florida surprises and just goes out and wins it again.
Yeah, the only team I would be stunned if they repeat is
the Rangers. Yeah, no, like it wouldn't surprise me if Florida won. It's just we both kind of knew hockey, the Stanley Cup. They might lose Reinhart. Overall, though, very interesting. We'll look back here, see what we were right, maybe what we were wrong about. But let us know in the comments what you agree, disagree with. What would your list be of most likely to repeat in these 4 teams? But make sure to like and subscribe if you enjoy this kind of content, and we'll see you in the next one. Peace.